In January this year, 39-year-old Abubakar Mohamed Yaya and his family of 8 members were forced to flee their home in Niala city in South Darfur in Sudan after the fighting between government forces and the paramilitary rapid support forces intensified. They embarked on a journey that would lead them to Uganda through volatile South Sudan. Luckily, Mohamed, who was an economist in Sudan, had saved substantial money which facilitated his journey and his family into Uganda.
They're
coming in UNHCR building near the border in Uganda, in Ilego. They text there, they went there, and after that they replaced them in Numanzi reception, and they stayed there 4 months, and after that they replacing them here. They find it very welcoming from the OPM here in Uganda.
With the help of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, Mohamed and his family were given a plot of land in Kiriandongo refugee settlement to construct a temporary shelter. This followed a rigorous process of screening and registration at the reception center there. So this is where Mohamed and his family, made up of 7 children and of course his wife, have been living for the past 9 months. Now he says back at home in Sudan he left a far much better house, but he says it is better to live in such a structure in a peaceful environment rather than being in a hostile environment where you only wake up to gunshots and bombs every day. There are about 41,000 registered Sudanese refugees, most of them women and children living in Kiriandongo refugee settlement. But this number keeps growing all the time, with at least 143 refugees arriving at the settlement on daily basis. Since arriving at the settlement, Mohamed and his family have been forced to adapt to the environment and cope with the situation in their new home, as survival here favors only the fittest. Thankfully, UNHCR and its partners like the World Food Programme are supporting them with food rations every month, just like other refugee households at the settlement.
Food that they're receiving for WFP has been cut to 30%. The first time they got the 100%, and after the 2 months they're getting right now the 30%. This is not enough for the family or for 1 month.
New arrivals receive 100% food ration during their first 3 months in Uganda, and thereafter receive 60% ration for an additional 3 months. After the initial 6 months, they receive 30% ration. He believes things could get better if he finds a job that can enable him earn some money. He's a holder of a master's degree in economics, but this qualification has not benefited him since he arrived in Uganda. He has been hunting for jobs for months in vain. Mohamed's plight is shared with hundreds of other Sudanese refugees living at the settlement. Most of them are highly educated, but remain jobless and largely depend on donations to survive. Anas Mirgahani, a former practicing lawyer from Sudan, and Nasraldin Abdallah Adam Suleiman, a former university student, are some of them.
Yeah, to get the wood is difficult. I don't have money. I don't have anything. Sometimes I receive some money from my friends and my families, but it's not enough.
I can't imagine how long I will stay here without completing my education journey.
There are about 1.7 million refugees in Uganda at the moment, making the country the highest refugee hosting country in Africa. However, sustaining this huge number of refugees is difficult, as refugee funding has greatly declined over the years, leaving many in government concerned.
The pattern that used to have like 3-4 sectors, multi-sector, you find it limping with one sector. Others who have 3-4 sectors like LWF, you find them also doing a quarter of what they are supposed to do. So their concentration is not fully utilized due to limited funding. So it hinders service delivery.
The war in Sudan continues for the 2nd year running. Previous efforts by the international community to reconcile the 2 army generals at war, General Burhan al-Fatah, who is the de facto ruler of Sudan, and General Hamdan Dagalo, have failed, continuing the suffering that has kept Mohamed in Kiriandongo. Daniel Kibet, NTV.